After an incredible season of the 1-Up Superstar Series racing, this is where it all wraps up, at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, where 40 cars get ready to take on 94 laps of intense racing action in South Florida, and for one, we say goodbye to possibly one of the greatest to ever strap into a race car in this series. Welcome to the finale at Homestead-Miami for the 1-Up Superstar Series. Joining me in the booth for tonight's race are two guys who know what it's like to make some history in 1-Up racing. Our first Turbo Truck Series champion, Ryan Griffin, and our first Turbo Truck Series race winner, James Ellison. Both are current Nitro National Series drivers, and both join me tonight. It's great to have you both with us. It's easy to see why this is such a hot ticket race. The racing action this weekend has been electric from start to finish, and we shouldn't expect that to change tonight.
No, it's this track is honestly one of the best tracks. At least for the drivers, it's probably one of the more fun tracks on the circuit because there's multiple lanes you can run and different ways you can get from back to the front here and maintain the front really. And we saw it the other night in the truck race here. Great racing all around, and I'm sure as hell expecting the superstar guys to do us even one better here tonight. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm looking forward to this. It's the end of the season. It's the last hurrah, and people are going to be going. People who are desperate for wins are going to be going to try to put that final exclamation point on the season.
Yeah, it's bittersweet when you get to the finale because you come in there and you're going to have a lot of fun. But at the same time, you know that once the checkered flag flies, all that's left to do is pack up, go home, relax for a few months, get ready for 2024, and then do it all over again in the new season. But that lull is going to be, I guarantee there's going to be some people going stir crazy. But for right now, there's a lot of fun to be had.
Absolutely, and we can now bring you the starting lineup without any further hesitation. Lane Sanders gets his second pole of the season, first time he's gotten more than one over the course of the season. He gets it at Homestead. Christian Vargas, our outgoing champion, lines up alongside him. Finguy, Donato, and McDonald complete the top five. They're all stout challengers. Our new champion, Devin Fair, lines up 10th, and right behind him, making his 130th and final career start, Jared Polansky lines up 12th. I'm sure this is a bittersweet day for him especially, but wouldn't he just love to exit the series with a win here at Homestead? For the final time in 2023, we are set to go racing at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Sanders and Vargas on the front row, taking us to the green flag. It is in the air, and 1-Up Superstar Racing for the very last time in 2023 is go. Lane Sanders and Christian Vargas pretty even going into turn one. It's anyone's guess who's going to get the lead coming through the first set of corners as the pack starts to form up.
Yeah, we saw the other night in the truck race that the inside leader was able to get the advantage early. We'll see, though, if that's the case here. It doesn't look like it's going to be that case, as Vargas is going to fight back on that top. Again, the top lane is kind of the preferred lane here, although we have seen, as we saw in the truck race the other night, the inside lane can be worked. It can, at times, stay with the outside, as Finguy is going to try to make it 3 wide into 1.
Yeah, not surprising. All these guys want to go for one last victory. Champion's been decided, but what hasn't been decided is who gets that last trophy. And that's exactly what they're going for, even though we're only 2 laps in.
And you see Christian Vargas powering his way into turn 3, trying to get the lead. Looks like Dylan Young going up the track almost into the wall, but he keeps it nice and neat off of 4. But Vargas continues to lead this race. He's led the first 2 laps by slim margins over Lane Sanders, the pole sitter, but Sam Donato trying to forge his way to the front on the outside, pushing past Jeffrey Finguy, and he's got his bumper set on Christian Vargas, the race leader.
And Donato on the high side. Again, the high side, as we've seen, tends to be the preferred lane here, but as I said, as we've seen from the truck races, Donato way up at the top, and he is going to slap that wall on the outside, and he may actually go for the lead with slapping the outside wall. So, well, at least he wanted to make it exciting to try to take the lead.
Yeah, we kind of saw that in the truck race as well. Bronson Minnick had that happen, but he still managed to get a good finish. But here, Donato, it's definitely not slowing him down one bit, as he looks like, yeah, he will clear Sanders here.
And looks like Finn Guy's going to try and stick it on the bottom 3 wide with Patrick Smith and a hard-charging Jared Polansky. He's wasting no time trying to get to the front in his final race. But here comes the new champ, Devin Fair. He's charged from 10th at the start to 3rd after just 4 laps.
I say there's a reason why this guy clinched the championship a race early, and this is right now we're seeing it with him going up there trying to fight for this lead early on against his teammate. And I guess you could say manufacturer teammate in that 77 of the Noto. So it's 3 Toyotas at the front, followed by the Dodge, or excuse me, actually the 92 of Finn Guy is taking over 4th. Sanders back to 5th.
And I hate to interrupt, but we did have a car on pit road in the early going. That's Eric Monaco in the 86. A flat tire, we report, on the 86 sent him to pit road. He's going to have a long day ahead of him trying to get that fixed. He'll go multiple laps down, but he should be able to rejoin after a little bit of repair work.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for him. But what's really fortunate is our new champ has a hard charge on the high side there, outside of his teammate and manufacturer teammate, 3 wide for the lead with Finn Guy watching on.
And what a close margin that was at the line. Devin Fair takes the lead from Christian Vargas by less than a 1/100th of a second. An incredible battle for the lead we've got up here. But now Vargas settles back in line behind Devin Fair, who hit. Are we really surprised that he's up at the front like this? He's won 3 of the last 4 races, and he could have gotten 4 in a row at Rockingham if he had pushed the issue a little more. But I think he was more focused on getting the title that day as Finn Guy scrubs up the wall.
And that's going to force possibly 4 wide here.
And there it is.
Dylan Young, Lane Sanders, and I believe that's Bobo Jones in the 04 that's down.
Patrick Smith
excuse me,
in the
Patrick,
04.
that's right, that's Patrick Smith in the 04, my bad.
As Monaco rejoins the track 5 laps down.
And I was going to say a little bit further on Fair, there's a reason, they started 10th. We should be surprised by this because this team, there's a reason why they won that championship a race early, and they've definitely shown it here, 7 laps into this race, now 8, with him now at the front of Finn Guy. Looks like he's going to take 2nd from Vargas. And meanwhile, you got Donato and Sanders still hand. But again, how about Patrick Smith in that 04? Granted it's early, but this is a decent run for Smith coming from, I'd have to double check my sheet here to see where he started, but he's currently battling for that 5th position.
Yeah, he started 6th. That's still a good. And he's running 6th, so pretty nice run for the 04 this early.
Yeah, it's a good run. It's something that he really needs, and I'm really happy to see him up there. And looking through this bunch of different drivers that really want a good run, and they've got a good run so far. You see quite a few of the former championship contenders having a really good day.
Yeah, and not to mention, we're talking about Patrick Smith. He's up there racing his future teammates. Remember, he's joining Finn Guy Saitomi Motorsports next season to drive their 3rd car. So every time he races Finn Guy and Dylan Young, he's racing his future boss, his future teammate. He might be number 3 at FPM next season, but he's got no reason to fold over for them. He's a great driver in his own right. He won the National Series Championship 1 year ago.
As we see the battles continue on around this racetrack, again, we saw this the other night, the truck race, where it seemed like we went almost got close to running that race caution-free and saw pretty much this kind of action the whole night, which was the good little packed-together racing for the lead. And right now we have about maybe 12, 13 cars right now kind of under this little blanket pack here that's dicing it for the lead. Right now it's the teammates that are dicing it for the lead. And again, you mentioned him earlier, the 18 of Polansky in his last Superstar race. He's up to P5 and trying to look for more here.
And then, of course, Finn Guy. He may have rubbed the wall earlier, but that hasn't slowed him down. He is trying to break up the 1-2 for Revolution Racing here. And Polansky going after Sanders there. What a deal it would be for him if he could go out with a win.
And wouldn't it be something, too, for Jeffrey Finn Guy to close out the season with back-to-back wins? Remember, he won at Rockingham with that big charge on J.D. Martin in the closing laps. That's something I'll always remember. But down the back straightaway going into turn 3, as we enter lap 14, we remember all those we have lost this year. We hope you'll join us for this quiet lap on lap number 14, as we remember all those that were taken from us. Battle rages on for the race lead. Devin Fair under fire now from Jeffrey Finguy, who dives it down the inside, trying to take the lead away from Devin Fair. They're going to be side by side down the back, and they've kind of left everybody else waiting behind them.
And you see, that's not at any other racetrack you could say, or non-super speedway track, you could say, oh, that's a good gap to have. But from what we've seen, especially from the truck race this weekend, you can get a gap like that, but the pack eventually does run you back down. So the draft definitely works here. But right now, Finguy and Fair are just trying to. It's the battle of the. It's the battle of the F driver, so to say. Finguy and Fair up front here, and Sanders trying to claw his way with. He's got Mashburn behind him, trying to help him as they try to parade their way past Vargas here and recatch these leaders.
Yeah, and then someone I couldn't help but notice is popped up here in the top 10 now. Nick Ortiz. He started back in. Looking at my sheet here, he started 20th. That's 10 spots gained, and then William Brock fell out from starting 7th. Now back in the top 10. Got a lot of good runs going here as we see Mashburn going after Sanders, or at least trying to.
And back to Finguy's going for the lead now on Nick Ortiz. They're side by side down the back. But going back to what you were saying about Nick Ortiz, he started the playoffs incredibly well. He was the main guy challenging Devin Fair for that championship. But it came out from under him. He's had some rough races. He's fallen all the way back to, I believe, 10th in the points. He needs something good to happen in this last race to boost himself back up the points ladder.
Meanwhile, you continue to watch this battle, but yeah, you mentioned a couple of guys. I was looking too at the 72 of Mashburn. Mashburn started 14th, and yet here he is in the top, as we said, in the top 5 challenging. I think I see Ben McDonald, who started 5th, now back in the top 5. So battles all over the racetrack right here, and especially up front. We continue to watch the battle up front as we got this nice little pack basically from third on back that are battling. So again, this track, it seems it just doesn't disappoint when it comes to racing. Let's just hope we can have a caution-free event.
Caution-free event would certainly be nice, but you never know with these kind of races. They're doing a good job so far, coming up on lap 20, and Lane Sanders, pole sitter, and he's hanging on pretty strong here in the top 5.
But Ben McDonald gets to his outside. I wouldn't be surprised if he forces his way past the 87, and he does move McDonald up to 3rd. He said he wants to end the season on a high note. He's doing it so far as Finguy goes for the lead once again on the 51.
And I said this a couple of weeks ago when these guys battled for, I believe it was up at Texas for Fair 1, and then Finguy was 2nd. Battle of the red and white cars, and here we go. The primary red car is leading the black and red, or leading the white and red car. So here we see another battle between these two today as Finguy now firmly takes the spot, and he will complete lap 20 out front with Fair trailing behind.
And then you see McDonald got cleared all the way up into 3rd now, and looks like William Brock has gotten by Lane Sanders. So this top 10 running order has shuffled a bit more, and I expected to shuffle quite a bit more as we get further into this race. But, man, look at all these guys fighting for position, even though they know the top 3 spots have started to pull away.
And not just them, but that blue car you see in your shot, Eric Monaco, he is 5 laps down after that flat tire. but he now has the freshest tires on the racetrack, and he's putting them to good use. He caught this pack from several seconds back, and now he's making a push, trying to get at least one of his laps back the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, it kind of sucks when you have something like that happen and you're running around several laps down, but with fresh tires on and you start driving, it's like, it doesn't mean anything, but at the same time, it's like, it's got to give you a little confidence booster, like, okay, at least we had pace today. We may have had an unfortunate deal that put us, a couple laps down, but at least they can at least say, oh, we had some pace today.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when you find good pace after you've gone multiple laps down, but at least he knows that car is good enough to run up there in the front runners as he tries to make his way up here to, as was already said, get one of his laps back the old-fashioned way. He's still got a lot of work to do as Fair goes after Finn Guy.
And Eric Monaco, of course, going down to the Nitro National Series next year, driving the 44 for New England Cruisers Racing as they move up to the Nitro National Series. Great pickup by them to see if Monaco can get a win down there next year. But you see the field starting to get closer together. Finn Guy and Fair nose to tail down the back as they head into free, but Vargas and McDonald are starting to close in on these two just a little bit.
What's interesting too in watching Finn Guy and Fair is they really have two distinct lines that they're running. Finn Guy's running a little lower on the track than Fair is, and he actually seems to be holding Fair at bay by running that line, which you would think the high side, as we've seen, has been countless times the line that we've seen people pass with and get these great runs, especially out of 3 and 4, to the point where they're almost basically putting it into the wall out of 3 and 4 to get a run. So it's interesting to see the low lane actually being, it looks like, the preferred lane at the moment, is McDonald's going to try to gun for second here on Fair.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about McDonald finishing the season on a high note. I honestly believe he would love nothing more. There is no higher note than getting that final race win trophy of the season. But Fair is not making it easy on him, that's for sure.
No, he is not. Devin Fair, he's already won the championship. He's got nothing else to prove this season, but he wants to win another race. It would be his 5th of the year, and that's something I'm sure he'd very much appreciate at the end of this race. But we still got a lot of racing to go. We got about 67 laps remaining. And right now, it's Vargas taking a look on Ben McDonald for 3rd place. He got it at the line. And William Brock forging ahead of Sam Denoto. This is the fight for 6th, and Brock's got his teammate Monaco to push him. Yeah,
a little help does a little assist. A little drafting help doesn't hurt. Even if your teammate is several laps down, a little assistance can help. And Brock's still staying in the thick of it there in that battle. It looks like he's actually going to lose this spot to Denoto. But yeah, it's interesting. Every driver in the field pretty much has the same mindset coming into here. Obviously, Fair has the default of, hey, we're already the champions as well. But every driver has the same mindset coming in here. This is just one more race, one more checkered flag. It's the last one of the year. End the season with that exclamation point, trying to win the race. And right now, Finn Guy in the best position to do that. He's, as you mentioned earlier, he's trying to get back-to-back to end the season with, which would be, I guess you could say, a double exclamation point to the season.
And looking at the rest, that would definitely be something that a lot of drivers would like to be able to do with their seasons, is start it with multiple wins in a row and end it with multiple wins in a row. Finn Guy's certainly going for the latter, and I couldn't help but notice we have a couple of new players in the top 10 here. J.D. Martin and Emma Carter just have been able to get up here, and our pole sitter has fallen back. I saw the last, when he was scrolling through the running order, he was 14th at the last scoring.
Yeah, Lane Sanders might not have a long run car, but he's fighting his best to stay as close to the front as he can, as Devin Fair takes the lead back from Finn Guy on lap number 29. Going off into turn 1, it is Fair with the lead over Finn Guy. McDonald runs 3rd, Vargas 4th, and Nick Ortiz has cracked the top 5.
We're seeing a lot of good battling going on here, but we got to keep in mind, too, just because we see what we're seeing right now doesn't mean this thing could change by the end of it. I mean, we saw in the truck race the other night, a late race restart and a lot of guys being close on fuel caused an issue late in the race that kind of changed the running order at the end of that one. So just because the guys who are running up front here are somebody that you as the spectators are watching, somebody you really root for, they could be up here by the end of this thing, depending on how it shapes out. So right now it's still Fair and Finn guy up front, McDonald in third. Monaco, who's a couple laps down, is still hanging with this lead pack. I mean, he's running right what would be the fourth position, but obviously multiple laps down, not in the thick of things. But you feel kind of bad more for that team because even Monaco's like, damn, if we hadn't lost those laps, we got at least top 5 pace. It's, I guess that's kind of the bad thing, looking at it from the driver's perspective anyway.
Yeah, and that's it's a tough pill to swallow, honestly, but we talked about it already. There is some solace in knowing that the pace was there. Just luck is not on their side, but. Now he could play if he stays up here during this race. He could play spoiler if things play out just right.
But right now he has to play a backup role to the leaders out front, Fair and Finn guy. McDonald and Vargas not too far behind either. Ortiz is up to 5th. Sam Donota runs in the 6th position. Emma Carter's made her way up to 7th ahead of William Brock. And Mark Davey, for the first time, has made his presence made in the top 10. He runs in the 10th position. He started 16th. And Mark Davey's had a rough playoffs. He really needs a decent run to make a good run at this. But for right now, look at Monaco. He's pushing Finn guy off into the corner. And right now, it still looks to be Fair out in front right now. And it looks like we got a smoker in the back, and it's Bouchard, and he touches off a big crash in the back. Zayden Davidson, Zachary Fitzwater involved in this one. McMillan involved. Bolton involved. Caution flies for the first time tonight.
Yeah, that 4 car, the rear end of the car was slightly off the ground there for a second, so obviously the 4 took a nasty hit on the side. There was a couple other cars that took pretty good licks too. We'll get a replay to see what happened there in the back. But yeah, man, a couple good hits on the back. Hope everybody gets out of there okay.
That is very unfortunate, and well, looks like Monaco will get one of those last back unless he took the caution behind the leaders, which looks like he did. But man, that's unfortunate. Zachary Fitzwater gets to end the season with a DNF, and I'm pretty sure he won't be the only one.
And poor Zayden Davidson, he cannot catch a break this season. He's had multiple runs where he's been doing very well, only to get caught up in crashes none of his own making, and this is another one to end his season. He's got to be looking forward to 2024 as much as anybody to try and reset, get a fresh start, and make something happen of it. But it looks like now everybody's coming to pit road for what should be one and only time in this race.
And look at the gap that Fair has coming to pit road versus everybody else. This is going to be a big advantage. Fair is most likely probably going to get out of this round of stops with the lead or remain the leader. McDonald looked like he actually took over second from Finn guy there. The timing of the yellow, so yeah, everybody looks like everybody pretty smooth into their stalls. Make sure everybody gets out without any contact.
Handily Fair is going to keep the lead, and so far so good. Everybody coming out. This is what you need, especially as busy as this pit road is.
Well, it's as busy and as narrow as this pit road can be at times. The traffic.
And you can see the only car left now on pit road is Zayden Davidson. They are attempting to repair this 4 car. So it looks like it all starts with Daniel Bouchard. He was running in 14th at the time, and as he comes through 1 and 2, the engine just blows up on him. And then he looks like he just loses all control of the car. He gets hit by, I think, Bobo Jones, and then it's just a calamity corner on the straightaway.
Yeah, it's almost as if those other guys, after Bouchard knocked it off the wall, they were slipping in the oil possibly that was coming out of that 73.
Very possible.
Yeah, Davidson and Fitzwater got pretty good lick for Davidson, as we said, the 4 car.
So we'll look at this. Zayden was running in about, I'd say, 19th at the time. And yeah, Bouchard just clips. And I think it was Patrick Smith, actually, he hit. And, oh yeah, Fitzwater, hit him in the door.
Slammed in there.
Yeah, that was a hard lick, and I'm pretty sure he's more angry than hurt, but that's just not a good situation for anyone involved.
One more look at this as they all head down the back. Bouchard blows up. He gets on the wall. Smith hits him, and then it's just a chain reaction. Everybody's sliding around, and not many are able to avoid it. A lot of them do a good job at getting around this, especially these guys you see on the high side getting past the stop 38 of Jeff Bolton.
Yes. Wreck avoidance as a driver, that's like one of the things you get very little time to react, and usually whatever path you choose is the path you're basically committed to, and unfortunately for some, the path they chose didn't end on a good note for them.
Yes, the unfortunate thing is we see Bouchard moving to take his position as the...
That's Monaco, but yes.
Or, yeah, Monaco, you know, we were just talking about Bouchard, I'm sorry, but... So Monaco going to the inside there to be the one and only lap down vehicle, as anyone else who could potentially have been a lap down has retired from the race, with the exception of the 4. So
yeah, it's impressive that the 4 is still on the lead lap. He has salvaged something out of this. Going to try and salvage something out of this race with a heavily damaged car. He's going to be off the pace the rest of the night, but kudos to him for trying. As McMillan, Bouchard, Bolton, and Fitzwater all out of the race as a result of that crash. But we're going to take you to the restart in about half a lap's time, which will come at lap 39. Fair, your leader.
Yeah, we get to see this will be the first restart since the start of the race. We'll see how everybody does now that they have the initial start under their belt and they've had this initial run. We'll see if we see any changes in the front runners. Any shuffling at all. Again, only one caution so far in 38 laps for that incident on the back. So hopefully it is the only caution we see today, and we can see some more great racing.
And we've had plenty of it. So if we can get more of that great racing, I think the fans will be just as happy as we will, as the green flag is getting ready to wave once again.
And it is down. We are back underway at Homestead. Starting on lap 39, Devin Fair takes off with the lead. McDonald in hot pursuit. And so far, it's clear sailing into turn 1. No issues like we saw in the truck race 2 nights ago. Devin Fair takes the lead. He's down the back with the race lead. McDonald's trying to find a way to his outside, but nothing doing. Fair's doing whatever he can to block that high lane off.
And Monaco, again, trying his best. He's still going to see if he can try to get a lap or 2 back. I think he's got the pace to run up here with the leaders to be able to get at least a couple of those laps back. But he's going to need some help in one way or another. Meanwhile, up front, Fair doesn't need any help. He continues to lead this race, holding McDonald at bay. Well, the Ben is going to try to peek here to the inside, maybe off 2. Nope, he's tucked in back behind him. Vargas is going to try the bottom lane. Then guy back at the top lane. As the top 5 kind of under a blanket, looks like Monaco is actually going to get the leader here. He's going to get... Well, that would give him one of his several laps back if we get a caution.
Coming with him. He takes the lead here.
Yeah, that is, I think Ben can be thanking Monaco for that a little bit. Even though he knows that the lead could probably be lost again here in the next 2 laps.
And we got one on pit road again. Caden McFadden making his Superstar Series debut after a great run yesterday. He now has a flat tire as well. They have to diagnose. He will go a lap down as a result. But Ben McDonald continues to lead out front. Now, Devin Fair has to do a little bit of defending from Finn Guy and Vargas and everyone else.
What was interesting, though, about that whole exchange of McDonald taking the lead from Fair is he did that on the bottom lane. Granted, he kind of used Monaco's draft, but still used the bottom lane here when we haven't really seen a lot of the inside passes. Maybe we are starting to see the lanes actually finally equal out. This Fair is going to go jump up top, try to get us run out of turn 4, and try to get a run back to the 12. He's going to have a little bit of a run here, but not enough to make a challenge here on this lap.
Yeah, but if he could do it again and succeed, he has a very good chance of being able to at least get side by side with McDonald. But that 12 is all. We have a lot of really strong cars here. It's just not all of them are able to fit into the top 10, which kind of unfortunate, but understandable because of how scoring works. But
Yeah, can we just give all of them top 10s at the rate they're going?
Well, the way we got this big pack, I mean, you got a pack of basically about 12, 13 cars right now. Granted, they're bunched up that way a little bit more because of just the most recent restart. But you know, this track is really, you really can't call Homestead a super speedway. But at the same time, to see this kind of pack racing like you'd see at a super speedway is maybe we have to reclassify Homestead.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see. We've talked about the truck race, how good it was, and how much fun we had watching the battles for the lead and everything. And of course, Truck Series being the only series that still had a championship battle to worry about, and it was a lot of fun to watch both the race for the win and to see how the championship battle played out. But the racing as a whole was incredible, and we're seeing it again here.
Although Devin Fair's starting to slip back a little bit. He's fallen to 5th now, and he's under fire for that position from Mark Davey in the 01. This is his last race with Ford. They brought him up in this series and gave him everything. He's moving on to Honda Power next year as we go side by side for the lead. Finn Guy and McDonald in the 1.
Yeah, I know that. And it seems like we're going to be saying this a lot tonight. Another battle for the lead. This time it's Finn Guy and McDonald that are going to battle. And how about Donato in that 77? Granted, he kind of slipped back a little bit in that run between the initial start of the race and the first yellow. But he's sitting right here in back in third place now, trying to see if he can actually make a challenge on these top two. Vargas there in 4th. Again, you mentioned Davey. Davey sitting there in 5th.
I think he
And
actually
I think he might have just, I think he just caught the wall there out of 4.
I saw that too. Wow.
Yeah, he's gathered it back together, and for now he's going to hold on. See a few different drivers mixing up there. See JD Martin getting back up there. He, as of the last scoring at least, was 7th, but a lot of good runs going on here for some of these guys who didn't start in the top 10.
And for Nick Ortiz in 10th, this is his last race with Ford as well. I believe he has been driving Fords from the very beginning of the 1UP Superstar Series. But now he says goodbye to them at the end of this race to move over to Honda Power with Mark Davey and the rest of his team. But they want nothing more than to give their former partners a good gift away, and a win here tonight would certainly do that.
Yeah, well, the thing is, though, they're not the only Ford teams up there. Right now, the highest running Ford is Finn Guy in the 92, so they got the work cut out for them if they want to be the highest finishing Ford tonight. But again, McDonald continues to lead. Donato's now going to take over 2nd from Finn Guy using that high lane. Like I said, this 77 has kind of just been sneaky here. I'm not going to say that he really has yet to shown as far as getting up there after the lead, which, as he goes to battle for 2nd, you know, he may prove me wrong here, but he's not necessarily challenged for the lead yet, but I don't count out this 77. I really think Donato could play a role here in deciding who wins and loses this race tonight.
And he's been doing really good off and on throughout this season. The whole team that he drives for, I believe, has been doing really, really good. So
got that win at Auto Club too.
Yeah, and he would love to close this out with a victory. Of course, we've been saying that about a lot of drivers tonight, but
it's true for all of them.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot. It's a lot of fun to watch. As we get past halfway here, so let's see what happens in this second half.
Here comes Sam Donato trying to get the lead from McDonald off of turn 4. They're side by side at the line. It's going to be really close, but I think McDonald got him at the line. Yes, he did. But you got 2 Toyotas up in that high groove with Donato and Vargas, with a Chevy and a Ford on the bottom. I think the Toyotas are going to prevail here. Donato through to the lead on lap 51.
And I think it was just a matter of time, before the 77 got to the front. Now we'll see what he can do, obviously. And how about, again, tip your hat to that 86 bunch. Granted, they had that early issue. But here's Monaco, a couple laps down. Right now, he currently has one of those actually back right now, running ahead of the leaders. But again, he would need the help of a caution to keep the leaders from passing him back. But
And he's got the fastest lap to boot.
I'm telling you, again, that's where as a driver you kind of kick yourself. If you didn't have an issue, where would you be running otherwise? But at least they're making a statement saying, "Hey, we have pace. We could run with these guys if we had the opportunities to." And you mentioned guys coming and showing their faces. Don't look now. That 66 of J.D. Martin has joined this fight. Again, Martin was one of those who ran the truck race the other night.
Wouldn't
And
he,
here he is.
Wouldn't he love redemption after Rockingham?
Yeah, the other after Rockingham for the Rockingham last week. I mean, and not only that, he's trying to pass the guy that beat him at Rockingham last week right now. And Finn guy there as they battle for the fourth position. Now he's going to go way up there, get right up against that 12 car. As we got basically a 6-car fight right now, as Mark Davia's tail end joined this 6-way fight for the lead.
And if they keep fighting, I would not be surprised if they drag Emma Carter, Miles Masher, and William Brock into this. Maybe even Jared Polansky. We've seen this field stretch out a little bit and come back together, especially this top 10. And man, like I said before, we got a lot of strong cars here today, and the drivers running them are putting on a great show.
One thing I did notice, though, our longtime leader of this race, Devin Fair, has now slipped out of the top 10 entirely. He's now battling for the 11th position with Nick Ortiz. So, could his car have fallen off in the mid stages of this race? He doesn't have anything to worry about, of course. He's the champion, and for a very good reason. But I'm sure he'd want to be closer to the front than this.
Yes, absolutely. We talked about this the other night in the truck series with the championship battle versus the race winning, how you almost want to go out on top. Yeah, you may have won the championship, but you also want to go out and say, hey, we won the last race as well. But obviously Fair's car not set up is not running that great at the moment. And again, we've seen this happen before. Guys may fade mid-race. Well, it's just going to be a matter of can they recover, come back at the end of the race, and be up here battling for it at the end. But I'll tell you what, I'm watching more or less this 66. I'm telling you, J.D. Martin is on a mission after what happened to him a week ago at Rockingham. Losing that race in the late stages to Finn guy. He started 11th today. I'm telling you, he is motivated. He wants to win a race before the year's out, and I know he is definitely going to drive hard as he's going to see if he can use Donato here to get by the 12 with McDonald.
Yeah, it seems like he's almost pushing him now as Donato has been cleared to the lead. Martin alongside McDonald. And we have a new player in the top 5 there, Emma Carter. She bringing Miles Mashburn with her. But back up here with Martin, and as he clears McDonald, now he's going to set his sights on Donato. We talked about it already. He wants redemption for not being able to quite make it to the checkered flag in front before Finn guy took over.
And of course, J.D. Martin has won a race every season of his career. He has not won yet this year. This could snap a streak for him. And this is his last chance. He knows that. He's going to the outside to try and take the lead away from Sam Donato, but he doesn't have enough track to make it happen. He's going to try the inside now, but we know how that's worked in the past. It's very mixed levels of success.
The other thing to keep in mind, too, is with Martin here trying to take the lead from Donato, the car last week that eventually pretty much determined the outcome, I guess you could say, of that race, was Christian Vargas, who was, at the time, tailing the lead lap down, racing with the leader. And I'm sure
we got Carter
Martin,
in the wall.
He's going to scrape it, too. That's the second one we've seen get into it, at least that significantly.
It was her teammate before that, the 77.
Exactly. But back to what I was saying with back to what I was saying with Martin, the car that kind of affected that was Vargas, and I'm sure there's no love lost right now for Martin to Vargas for what happened a week ago. So even though they're both racing here for the lead, Martin may run Vargas a little harder than what he's planning on because of what happened a week ago. But Donato looks like he's going to hang out at the top spot as these guys battle behind him.
And then, of course, Finn guy, you just can't stay away from being in the battle for the lead. But because he's got such a strong car, just like at Rockingham, but I'm really rooting for quite a few of these drivers here. It's hard to pick just one.
And remember, Vargas and Finguy are tied atop the all-time win list at 12 apiece. They want to be the first one to 13, and they've got Donotto and Martin to get through before that. So it's going to be very interesting if one of them gets to 13 first, or neither of them. And in that case, we'll have to figure out who gets there first next year. Because I'm sure it would be very hard to believe that neither one would win at least once next year.
I think it's funny that the win mark that they're both shooting for is probably what most people would say is one of the most unlucky numbers is 13. And here these guys are like, I want to be the first to 13. I want to be the first to 13. But they're battling. I'm amazed at this. We got a good solid pack here. At least 10 cars still within striking distance, within basically a second of the race lead, with about 31 to go. So still, we haven't really seen, other than maybe Fair that really significantly fell off. We haven't seen anybody that's completely fallen out of earshot. So everybody's still within close enough distance to actually make a charge. So it just an amazing race today, and definitely deserving of being the finale for sure.
And we keep talking about the truck race. That all the racing this weekend has proven why this race is the finale, and why it needs to remain so. Championship battle decided or not, it provides a lot of good action.
And I'm sure none of the drivers would disagree about that. But you notice the top 5 starting to pull away from 6th place, which is now Nick Ortiz in the 91. So it's Vargas, Finguy, Donotto, Martin, and Carter who are starting to stretch their legs out in front as we now have 30 laps to go.
I think you pretty much are starting to see maybe now what could be the strongest 5 cars here at the front. That being especially Vargas and Finguy, who have been here pretty much of the day. Donotto as well. Martin and Carter are the ones who have come on late here, but still probably just the stronger cars. And it's a 5-way fight, and Ortiz trying to drag that second group probably into this.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, I saw Ortiz and Mashburn. I was thinking 5-car pack at the front for now, but for how long? As we see it right now, they're not too far back, and this, I keep saying it, and I'm going to keep on saying it until this race is over, probably. This field, I am just amazed at how it can stretch. At least the top 10 can stretch out a little bit, then come back together, mix it up, stretch it out a little bit, then come back together and mix it up some more. It's truly incredible as we see Martin going for the lead.
Side by side, perhaps, going into turn 1, J.D. Martin on Vargas for the lead. Down into turn 1 they go, and looks like Martin's going to get alongside the 54. He might be able to make the move stick into 3.
We'll see if he can make it stick in 3. They'll be side by side down the back. Vargas with a little bit of advantage into 3, though. We'll see if Martin can get a nice little run here, possibly. But again, being on the bottom is kind of hard to come by. As Finguy's the one that's going to kind of get a run here off 3 and 4. We'll see maybe if he could try to use that outside momentum to try to get at least alongside Martin. It looks like Martin's going to maintain second to Vargas and try to see if he can gun for the lead here out of 2.
And then you got Finguy there waiting to see if maybe one of them slips up a little bit and he can capitalize. But the thing is, right now, one of them slips up, and if he's too close, we could be seeing some race-winning hopes come to an end. But so far, so good, as Vargas still hanging on to the lead.
And as we close in on 25 laps to go, they got to realize time's running out. They got to start making their way to the front now, because if they wait any longer, they might miss their chance. As we see it, I can't help but notice seeing a new face in the top 10, and it's one we haven't seen in the top 10 all season long. It's that 2 car back there, that blue car, Stephen Gale. He has not had a top 10 finish all season long. He should have finished top 10 probably at Rockingham or at Texas. All these races he coulda, woulda, shoulda. He hasn't gotten one yet. Could this be the night that he finally gets that result?
Yeah, that would be something for him to have it come down to the very last race. But he's in the top 10 at the moment, so I'll have to see if he can be another one that can maybe get a little further up, give himself a couple of cushion positions at least.
Yeah, he started back in 27th too.
Meanwhile, it's still Vargas holding off Martin. Carter has actually now moved into third position, getting around Finn Guy, and here comes that 91 of Ortiz. We mentioned him just kind of lurking outside that top 5. Well, here he is. He's now in the top 5, and he's trying to see if he can get another position here from Finn Guy.
Yeah, and we'll look back here at Stephen Gale. He's got to be excited to be up here, but he knows there's still just over 20 laps of racing to go, and there's a lot of drivers here who'd love to be able to finish their season with the top 10, no matter how many of them they have or don't have. But this is a guy who really needs it, and I would be very, very happy to see him get that.
And he's gotten past Mashburn to move up to 9th. He's going to get to work on Donato now, who started to slip back. He's down to 8th. He might lose that spot to Gale. But coming through 1 and 2, we've got 23 laps to go. And Christian Vargas has the lead for now. But Martin, Carter, and Ortiz are scrambling to try and get to his bumper.
I tell you what, we've mentioned her a couple times tonight. Watch that 70. That 70 has really been the hard charger. I know we mentioned Martin and Ortiz and their hard chargers, but man, that 70 on that top lane, you got the momentum, you're going the right direction you want to be going in. As the laps wind down, you want to be going forward, gaining spots. Carter could very well put herself in a good position here as we'll come to basically 21 and a half laps to go. With Vargas out front, Martin in second, and again, Carter third, Ortiz and Davey. That's your top 5. Finn Guy just outside in 6. Polansky in his last run is looking at a solid top 10. And of course, Gale, McDonald, and Donato is the rest of your top 10. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all falls out here with 20 to go. And do we go green to the end? I mean, I think I could speak for my fellow commentators here that we want to see this thing stay green to the end, see this Dyson like it is, but you never know.
Yeah, speaking of never know, you talked about it. Never know when that 70 is going to strike, and they've had Emma Carter has had a real good season. Got those wins and has really been just. I mean, yeah, she kind of fell off in the playoffs a little bit, but here she goes, the outside of Vargas, one of the many drivers that I namelessly mentioned wanting to finish the season off with a victory.
Yeah, of course, Emma Carter got those wins at Road 1 and at Minnesota, but I think she'd really want to get another one here at Homestead to close the season out, because you're right, it's been a rough playoffs for this 70 team. They won the regular season championship, remember. They were one of the top seeds going into the playoffs. They've just not had the luck go their way in these last 10 races. But wouldn't it be a great comeback for this 70 car to get this win in the last race of the season and go into 2024 with some really good momentum?
Tell you what's interesting that I'm noticing here as well. I know we mentioned how Monaco was able to get by the leaders, get out there and get a little bit of a gap there. Well, these guys have actually kind of reeled him back in to some extent. So Monaco is just a couple car lengths ahead of these guys. You know, we got to bear in mind, Monaco could play a factor. I mean, we saw it happen at Rockingham a week ago with what happened to Martin when he was trying to get around the lap car at the time of Vargas. Right now, they battled for second in this race. But, you know, we'll have to see if the lap car, or in this case, he's 4 laps down, but if the lap car will play a role in who gets the right run at the right time and what could be the winning move in this race. So he may be out there. Again, he's not a factor at the moment, but we'll have to keep an eye on him because he could be a factor in who wins and loses this race by the time we get to the end of the race.
Yeah, that's something I've been kind of silently taking note of, the fact that he isn't pulling away like he was earlier. He's not really been reeled in like beep beep, I'm here, move over for the leader, but that he's just hanging on there and just keeps looking in his mirror and seeing the leaders and praying for a caution so that maybe, just maybe, if it's timed right, he could have a chance to get maybe another lap back. But right now, he's still doing a really good job just hanging out there up front of the leaders.
And time is running out for him to get that caution, to get one of his laps back and start this whole process all over again. But now we've got these two cars out front, Carter and Martin. They know what's on the line for them. Carter trying to redeem a rough playoffs. JD Martin to keep his winning streak alive year after year. We've got 15 laps to go now, and it's going to be really close between these two, probably Vargas and Ortiz as well.
And then I'm going to make mention of them, we already somewhat did. Polansky and Gale, the 18 and the 2, both running 5th and 7th at the moment in the scoring, but they're both going to be challenging perhaps for a top 5 finish. And for Gale, who's not had a top 10 finish yet this year, could possibly be looking at a possible top 5 finish by the end of this race. So wouldn't that be something, you know? Not only are you going to get possibly a top 10 finish in the last race of the season, but potentially a top 5. Who knows what that momentum could do going into next year for Gale?
And you want to talk about potential top 5? There's Jared Polansky. He's creeping up there a little bit too. We talk about how he would love to get a win or a top 5 or a top 10. Well, he keeps pushing forward, and it's looking more and more likely that he's going to be securely in the top 10 at least, barring an issue. As we see Martin going after Carter, let's see if he can do this again.
He's done this quite a bit this year, or this race at least, has JD Martin, getting down to the inside, trying to make a move on Emma Carter. It's not going to quite work this time, but I'm looking back at that 18 car, and that going out of the sport in your prime, that takes a lot of guts to do, and I'm really happy to see him running up front in his last race. Shows he's still got a bit left in him.
And going back to the lead for a second here, and you mentioned Martin keep making this inside run. What I've noticed is Martin does seem to is able to make it work, but what happens is the battle he has takes so long that a third car comes into play, and that third car is usually what has determined who has taken the lead, and Martin was unable to complete the pass before a third car got involved. So I think what he's trying to do here is to see if he can get that inside pass made, which looked like he's going to. He might be able to complete it this time. I know it looked like
we got one close. In the pits. I think Nick Ortiz. Oh no, we're reporting flat right rear on the 91. That's gonna end his hopes for a decent day. And you gotta feel for Nick Ortiz, who's had a dream start to the playoffs and a nightmare end to it. He's gonna finish well down the order tonight.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. We were enjoying watching him come up here and try to do something with the positioning here. Is we were talking about it with Stephen Gale, as we see Mark Davey riding the wall, the latest one to do so. Talk about finishing with the season with the top 5, top 10. We see Ortiz coming off pit road. Stephen Gale has found the top 5, and Polansky handily is sitting in a podium position at the moment.
But the battle now is for the lead between JD Martin and Emma Carter. Martin did clear to 70 on that lap to take the lead, but is he going to get held up again, second week in a row, by lap traffic? Here comes Carter on the outside trying to take the lead back, and she's going to get it at the line now with 9 laps to go.
But the thing is, unlike last week where Martin was on a little older tires than Finn Guy, him and Carter are on the equal tires, and Monaco is not necessarily just blocking one car here. He's being a hindrance, could possibly be a hindrance for Carter as well. So this may not necessarily be a bad situation for Martin, because the person he's battling is in the same situation he's in.
And then you see back there, if Monaco ends up holding these guys, these two up, there's a couple of guys back there who could come back in here and play surprise. Well, at least one of them, because while he's been running really good up there, Polansky hasn't challenge for the lead, but that might change here soon enough.
Yep, he's fighting with Vargas for third. He might lose that spot. I've noticed pole sitter Lane Sanders has made his way back into the top 10 at Ortiz's expense. We're coming now to, I believe, 7 laps to go this time. And I think Carter's now had enough of Monaco. She's trying to put him back 5 laps down.
Yeah, they've run him back down, Carter. Now, if Carter puts Monaco between herself and Martin, that might be the difference maker. We'll see here if Martin can get as good a run as Carter got around the 86. But I'm still looking at it. We're going to say this again just because of, the drought he's been on, but Gale's sitting at a possible top 5 finish after not having a top 10 this year.
He's under pressure, though, from McDonald and Davey.
I'm going to say, Gale's just hoping to see the white flag. He wants the white flag. He wants this thing to be over right now where he's running.
Any flag,
Let it
really.
end on a good note, yeah.
Yeah,
let it end on a good note.
Yeah, I believe we're at the point where a caution could very well end the race, or close enough to it, but Stephen Gale, I am so glad to see him up there because looking back at all the races that I've been in the booth for here, and I can remember a lot of races. We didn't talk much about him except if something was going wrong for him or if we just happened to be covering the middle of the field, which I think he would be more than happy to know that we got to talk about him in a really positive light tonight. And top 5 would be great. Top 10 would be all right as well. But at this point, he's just hanging on.
We're coming to 4 laps to go now, and Eric Monaco, he's going to try and unlap himself again. This is really being a thorn in Emma Carter's side, and that could draw Martin and Vargas right back into play.
Well, last week it was a lap car that cost Martin a chance to win the race. Right now he's hoping the lap car gives him an opportunity to win the race tonight. As it's right now he's trying to hold off Vargas for the 2nd position. Well, hopefully he gets an opportunity maybe to get at Carter here. It'll be 3.5 laps to go.
Yeah, it'd be a bit of irony if what cost him the win last week gives him the win this week, while he's trying to hold off the guy who was the car that cost him the win last week. So this is truly an interesting situation as we are now in the final 3 laps of the season. Martin finally is, just like Carter said, enough is enough. You need to move out of the way, Eric.
And with only 2.5 laps to go in this 2023 season, we can look back on truly what a great season it was. From the Daytona 500, Jake McMillan getting that first career win. So many drivers got their first career wins in the season. Roberto Crown Jr., Justin Henley, Braden Stojanovic.
I hate to interrupt you, but watching the run that Martin got off that corner there in 3 and 4, 2 to go, I think we're going to have a battle for the lead. I think Martin's not done yet.
Yeah, he really got a good run off of 4 there, and so he's definitely driven. He's determined. I remember earlier this season there was a bit of a question as to whether or not he'd be returning to that ride next year. Of course, that question got answered, and now the question that'll be answered is, will his win streak for every season be kept alive? And he is, well,
he's gonna make a charge on this last lap. He's gonna make us wait to this last lap. But I think he's going to make a charge.
The white flag is out. We've got 1 lap to go from Homestead-Miami Speedway, and these guys have put on an incredible race to close out the season. A fitting way to end this incredible 2023 season. Down the back straightaway for the final time. Martin's going to make one last-ditch effort in the turn 3. Which way is he going to go? Is he going to go high? Is he going to go low? He's going to go high.
He's got to try that high line. He's got to go up there.
Out of 4. Is Carter going to shut the door? Yes, she is.
She shut the door on him.
Off of 4, Emma Carter wins the finale at Homestead by a very slim margin over J.D. Martin, who closes out the year with back-to-back runner-up finishes. Nick Ortiz, he had those fresh tires. He made good use of them. He almost got his lap back. Christian Vargas comes home in 3rd to close the year out. He gets out of the bottom of the playoff standings. Jared Polansky, congratulations on an incredible career you've had. 4th place at the end of this one. And Lane Sanders fought his way all the way back up to 5th at the end. Very impressive from the 87 driver. Mark Davey comes home 6th. Stephen Gale finally gets that top 10 he's been waiting all season for in 7th. Mashburn 8th. McDonald 9th. Finn Guy rounds out the top 10 at the end of this one. Now that is how you close out a season, boys. I tell you that much.
Yeah, Martin just needed, I think he needed really one more lap. He was getting that high side working in 3 and 4, and I hate that I interrupted you, but yeah, I seen the run he got there at 3 and 4 coming to 2 to go. I was like, he's going to make a run at this, and he had a little bit of run, and Carter just kind of was able to come over there out of 4 on that last lap, was able to hold them off, but man, there's a lot of guys, Martin, I guarantee you next year Martin's going to win a race. I mean, this year is just kind of, just unfortunate that he wasn't able to win one, but next year he's definitely going to win a race. The two team, I'm telling you, they got to take the momentum from this. They finally got the top 10. They had a chance at a top 5. They'll take this momentum going into next year, and who knows? Maybe they'll have more top 10s to talk about next year. And what can you say about the end of the season and our champion and Devin Fair and the playoff run he's had?
Absolutely. What a season.
Wow.
What a season it has been for all of us involved.
Incredible, guys.
Absolutely incredible. So, from Ryan Griffin, from James Ellison, from myself as well, we say goodbye from this 2023 season. That'll be one for the history books. We'll see you again in March at Daytona International Speedway, where we get to do it all over again. So long from 2023. What a year it's been.